Hi, I'm Ridhya Raj, the reading fairy, and you're tuned in to watch the author interview. Now, books have this phenomenal magic. They can take you on a journey, not just around the world, but also into yourself, into your own soul. And someone who has done just that in her collective writing works is, of course, the amazing Carin Moffatt. Carin, thank you for being here. I am so honored to host you.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I am super excited.
So I want to start all the way at the beginning. How did Carin Moffatt, the woman, become Carin Moffatt, the author? Where did your journey start?
It is actually quite a crazy story. This is something that I always wanted to do. I actually wanted to be this environmental journalist. I was gonna post things around the world and whatnot, and I was led in a different way. So writing was like always in me, if I could say it like that. And then actually freeing Kariba, which was my second book, was a book that I always wanted to write. Like it was something that was there, and I thought about it and like, can I do this and can't I do this? And it's nearly is it 2 years, a year and a half ago, my boys and I were in the Kruger Park. And these stories just started coming like one after the other. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this? And that's how Wild Faith was born. And it was like once I started writing, and you know, when they say like you start writing, you can't stop. It was literally like that. I was absolutely flooded. And yeah, so Wild Faith definitely gave me the confidence and the, I want to say, self-worth, if I can use that word,
Yeah.
to then be able to write Free and Kariba of what I actually always wanted to write. So that's how it started. And Free and Kariba was, I was with you in Durban. And you were like, what else you got in there? I'm like, oh, I've got this. And you're like, come on, do it. And I think that you just triggered me like, okay, I'm going to do this. And again, Free and Kariba, I think, has been in my head for nearly 10 years, like, and no jokes. And again, once I just started putting pen to paper, it flowed. And book two and book three on Free and Kariba is already in the making in my head. It's just also going to be that sit down and write it and let's do this, you know. So I'm super excited that I finally released myself and gave myself freedom to do this.
Now, when we look at your books, I feel like it shows how multifaceted a woman can be. A woman is a nurturer in the character of Elenor from Wild Faith, teaching these lessons and maternal. But then we also cannot forget that a woman was created to be loved and to give love. And we see that in freeing Kariba. And I feel like we don't see this often enough, where authors explore the different genres that call out to them. And when it came to Wild Faith, what do you feel were some of the challenges you encountered along that way?
Sure, absolutely. Gosh, you've touched on so much there. So, our faith is definitely biblically based because it's got the Bible verse that goes with it. And then you've got Esther the elephant who's using that verse to try and teach us on different things, you know. And it's using the animals in order to like build stories because sometimes it's easier for us to relate to an animal than it is to a
Hmm.
human thing, especially when we're the younger generation, you know, it's scheduled to sort of the youth and whatnot. And the challenges was really to make sure that I was doing and using that Bible verse to what God wanted me to say.
Yeah.
Because it's really easy for us to make up our own story in our minds as to what he's trying to say. But I didn't want that. I wanted to be really about what he was trying to say. And often I was challenged and I had to sit there going, is this my view because of personal experiences that I've had in my life, or is this actually what is trying to be taught? So
Oh.
there were a couple of stories that were super easy, like I knew it, and then there were a couple that I had to kind of sit on and go, okay, let's just make sure of this one before we put it out there. So that was definitely one of the challenges with Esther with Wild Faith.
Now, I absolutely love the fact that Wild Faith was actually your first book in publication because, as you said, it gave you that confidence and the ability to trust in yourself and the way in which you were being led, which of course brings us to Freeing Kariba. And I feel like as women, Freeing Kariba is a book that is so relatable because there is so much that we hold ourselves back from. And freeing Kariba is actually about freeing ourselves as a reader. And it reminds me of another author that I met who had picked up your book. She had gone into her distributor's office and seen a book on the table and said, "Hey, can I have a look at that?" And she does not read romance at all. It's not her thing. But she picked it up, she read it, she loved it. And that I thought spoke volumes about the quality, the caliber of your writing, in that someone who feels that it's not their genre at all could pick it up and find joy in it. And as an author, how does it feel for you to know that you're having this impact on women?
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely amazing. I was actually going to call Free and Kariba Not Another Romance. Like that was actually the title up until like almost to the end because I didn't want it to be this another romance. And I was like, how am I going to break into this romance world? There's so many of them out there because yes, there is a love story to it, but it is like so much more than that, you know? It's literally about finding yourself and freeing yourself. For me as a woman, I feel like sometimes society and our immediate core around us, and even ourselves, we put ourselves in a box. You know,
Yeah.
Wild Faith is really the girl next door type of box, and then I break into Freeing Kariba, which is like we explore
The
topics of
woman.
dominatrix and yeah, the women, dominatrix and submissive in a whole different light that people don't even know that there is a possibility to. And it actually freaked me out, to be honest. I was like, should I use like a pseudo name? Like maybe I shouldn't like put my name there. And once a few people had read it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so brilliant. You need to own and claim this. And that empowered me and that freed me because I realized in that moment I'm doing exactly what I was trying to teach everybody else, women, and a lot of men have read this book as well,
Yeah.
not to do. And that's to put yourself in a box. And you know, to be like, I can only show the girl next door type of mom, perfect businesswoman and everything, where no, there's a different side of us. And why can't we be it all?
I absolutely agree with you. And I think what was really powerful in Freeing Kariba is the fact that she owned her sensuality. And there's nothing wrong with being sensual as a woman. There's nothing wrong with being a sexual being. Our anatomy was created by the Almighty, and that includes pleasure. And so I do definitely understand why you did have a little bit of hesitancy initially, but I'm proud of you for owning it because I think that is what empowers other women to also own their own sensuality and to be at ease with their desires. And as you've mentioned, you've had men read this book as well. How have they reacted to Freeing Kariba?
Oh my gosh, loved it. The one guy's comment was like, you wrote me a handbook to my wife. And then I got a comment from my wife going like, oh my gosh, have you changed our relationship? And I was like, I am so that like that in itself, if I did that just for one couple or one woman or one man, oh my gosh, I'm grateful just for that because that was the whole point about it, you know.
Mm,
And there is a male perspective in the book. So there is Matt who gives his side of the story, if I can say it like that. And it just shows a different side, you know, that there are men out there that actually really do want to understand their woman and they want to, I want to say, pleasure her, but not just
mm.
on a sexual way, in a
But
life
on
way.
her
You know, they
mind, her soul as well.
Exactly, exactly. They want to be her partner. They want to get onto her level. And it's really a book for both, I want to say. Obviously directed more to the women, but definitely men have learned from this. Another guy's response was absolutely fabulous. He was like, "This is so not smutty," because that's one thing
Mm,
that I really didn't want it to be. And he was just like, you showed me a complete different perspective that I didn't even know could exist. And he was
yes.
just like, thank you for that, you know? So yeah, no, it's been awesome.
Now, one of the things that stands out is also the fact that BDSM is generally something you find in dark romance, and it can be quite scary for people. And what's unique about Freeing Kariba is that it is brought forth in a trusting, gentle, loving, and kind manner, which I think is something that the BDSM community would appreciate. Because the portrayal, for example, in Fifty Shades of Grey, is something that the kink community was not on board about and they were not a fan of. But this is why, when we write from a respectful point of view, it makes a difference for people. And that's exactly what you have done with Freeing Kariba. Also, I think it helps to know that men like Matt exist. And I'm sure that Matt is many a woman's book boyfriend right now.
Oh, absolutely. I think the thing with this is that makes it so real is men like Matt exist, but women like Kariba also exist. And
Yeah.
if you as partners can come together, there's a great sneaky peek in the book where they have to share each other's what they want. And I don't want to give it away as to how they do it. And that just brings a complete and that's a different dimension into it because it allowed them to set themselves free in a safe way. And I think that's the whole thing about a relationship, about any relationship, not just an intimate one, but on a mental and a physical level. If you are able to open yourself up to be who you want to be in a safe environment with that person, it can lead to a world that you didn't even know existed. And that is the point of it. And that was definitely the dominatrix submissive was to show that it doesn't have to be this whips and chains and hardcore
Yeah.
and tying you up and all the rest of it. It's about being submissive to your partner. And then your partner, if he's the dominant, respecting you on such a
Yes.
level that you know that he would never or she take advantage of it. And that
Yeah.
was it about. And that is the intimacy in a relationship that I think so many of us are looking for.
I absolutely agree with you. And I think that something that's often misunderstood in the context of people being dominant or submissive is, as you've mentioned, this person would never take advantage of you, that there is consent and respect and care. And I think that is what is a very big lesson for so many people that are encountering freeing Kariba. And I also think that it has shown your evolution as an author because for many authors, there's the self-doubt when they first begin writing. And then it takes a certain amount of belief to keep going. So I must ask then, for any woman that is out there watching you and thinking that she's got a story within her, what guidance would you offer to her?
Tell it. Just tell it. Put it down on paper, even if you don't do anything with it. Okay. Even if you just write it for yourself, write it. And when you read it back, you will be liberated. Whether it's a personal story, whether it's like your life story or experience or whatever it is, just write it. And if after you've done that, if you feel called to take it further, then take it further. Remember that every story that we have, somebody else is experiencing it. And somebody else might be sitting in exactly the same boat going, I wish somebody had said this. Like
Yeah,
it's relatable. Like, oh my word, there's somebody else out there because us humans kind of need that. You know what I mean? It's like if you're having a bad day and someone else is having a bad day, it's like, oh, okay, I'm human. You know what I
I'm
mean?
not
This is
alone.
normal for me. I'm not alone. Exactly, exactly. And your story might change somebody else's life.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, just go for it. What have you got to lose? Because even like I say, if it doesn't get published or if it doesn't get out there, you will free yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And tell me, Karen, where can avid readers find not just Wild Faith Trilogy, but also Freeing Kariba? How can they get their hands on copies of these amazing books?
So the easiest way is to go on to Carin Moffatt, and that's CarinMoffatt.shop. And it's super easy. You just follow the online prompts, and your book gets couriered to you. So that is the easiest way.
That is absolutely amazing. And I know that there were also a little book box option there. So I think that would be a beautiful gift to anyone that you would wish for them to free themselves would be to get your hands on a copy of Free in Kariba and also gift the box. You never know
Yeah.
where it will take you.
Absolutely. The word for the year for me was liberation, to be liberated. And that's exactly what this journey will do for you. I often joke that I wrote Wild Faith so that the children can read it while mom and dad can read Freeing Kariba, so that everybody gets to be involved in something. Because I'm sure that once you pick up Freeing Kariba, you will not want to put that book down. You will want to finish it. It's not one of those like, oh, put it down, I come back. So that's why Wild Faith was also was created, I reckon, first was so that the kids can be lost in Wild Faith while mom and dad get lost in Freeing Kariba.
I absolutely adore that. And I can attest to the fact that Freeing Kariba, once you start reading it, you cannot put it down. I could not stop reading it until I got to the very last page, and then I wanted more. So, if you are a fan of a sweet story of love that embraces gently and softly, get your hands on a copy of Free in Kariba and, of course, Wild Faith Trilogy as well, because we love balance and we love a queen that puts out both. Carin Moffatt, businesswoman, mother, author extraordinaire. Thank you so much for being here and for being a part of the author interview. I cannot wait to see what comes next for you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me. And I'll definitely keep you updated.